Okay, so I've finished doing all the shading of my flowers, and I've added some yellow stamens into the centers, and right now I'm just going to work on shading those a little bit. So I got to pick out, I'm going to use some Glimmer Glam, or Glimmer Glaze for this. And I'm going to be using sea kelp and saffron for that. And these come with brushes already, so I guess I could just use the brushes that are in here. I'm going to shake it up a little bit and get a little bit of the glimmer out there. So I'm kind of just going to add some depth to my pollen here so it doesn't look so blotchy. So I'm kind of just dabbing this on over the already painted yellow, and it's kind of dirtying it up a little bit, kind of making it look like there's some shadowing in there. Being careful not to get it onto my pink petals. And now I'm going to go in with the green. I'm going to dry this a little bit. This dries really fast anyway, but I'm just going to help it along really quickly. Just so that when I go in with the second color of Glam, it doesn't bleed into each other, because I want that sort of blotchy look. And when you're using the heat tool on the glaze, you want to make sure that you're not staying on it too long, because you don't want it to boil up. And this glaze is really cool because you can actually get it to crackle by slightly diluting it a little bit or adding another medium to it. So for this, you don't really want that to happen either. All right, that's dry enough. So now I'm going in with the sea kelp. And I'm not going to add too much of this because it is a green, but I did add this to my leaves. So on my leaves, you'll see there's a little bit of a darker green in there. It's because I added this just like this onto my leaves a little. And it just added a little bit more depth. So I'm going to go in with this, and I'm just barely going to dab in there teeny, teeny little dots. I don't want a whole lot of it on my stamens. And that's Beckham saying hi. All right. And now I'm just going to go in and I'm going to darken up my leaves a little bit more using this same green that I was just using, but I'm going to use my own paintbrush this time and dry it off. I don't want to get water into my glaze here. So I'm just going to go in and get a little bit of the glimmer in there. I'm just adding a little bit more to some of the lighter ones that I could see here, and you're probably not going to be able to see this subtle touch on camera, but you'll see it in the pictures later, hopefully, if you stick around. Alright, so once this is dry, I'm going to go in with the matte medium, and I'm going to completely cover my flowers to seal all that beautiful acrylic paint in there. And I do that just in case this gets a scratch or anything like that. The matte medium works as an awesome sealer. Alright, so I've done that, and in the next clip I'm going to make some very pretty dimensional butterflies to put in here, and I think you might like it, so hang tight. Alright, so now I'm making butterflies. I wanted to do something that was kind of like some funky, glassy, candy-looking butterflies. So I came up with this, and I'm going to show you how I made them. So see, they're kind of funky looking, and they're going to go on my canvas a special way. So what I did was I took some drywall tape. You guys know I always use this stuff in my paintings. And I just drew out some butterflies, and I cut them out like this. And I've got some UD melting in my melting pot. UD is just ultra thick embossing enamel from Ranger. Looks like this. And I poured some glitter in there, this colored glitter that I bought at a fabric store, like a minty green. And then I also used some of Art Glitter's Elements glitter, which is like this organic glitter that has natural elements in it, which is cool. And I sprinkled a little bit on there just so I can get some like little dirty chunks in my butterfly like that. And then I've also got some wing chain. That's really pretty. So what I did was I dipped half my butterfly in, and that green glitter melts. So the color part of it melts. So you end up getting like these green chunks, and it looks really cool. It ends up looking a little bit. Okay, so there's what this butterfly is looking like so far. See the little blue chunks on there? Kind of cool. And I'm just going to thicken it up a little bit by dipping it a few more times. I scraped off my craft sheet. Sorry, the video cut us off a little bit there. I scraped off my craft sheet and I just stuck the pieces back into the melting pot. And the longer you keep this UD into that melting pot, the darker it's going to get. So you can potentially get a really cool vintage color, honey sort of color if you wanted to. So I'm going to let this other side dry, and then after that, what you do is you cut off a piece of this chain, you stick it right down into the middle, like that, and you just get your heat tool to it, and it'll melt into the UD. So it'll set into the UD, and then that'll act as your glue. And that's how I made these funky little butterflies. And this butterfly doesn't have any green in it. So that's it. And I'm going to add these to my canvas and finish up my canvas piece, and then I'll show you the finished product. Alright, so what I've done now is I've stamped around my edges a little bit with a chicken wire stamp and some clocks and butterflies. And now I'm going to coat the middle of my page. And actually I tinted the clocks by mixing matte medium with glimmer mist. And I used Lily Pad, and I believe this one is Bahama Blue. So I'm going to coat this whole center with the matte medium, a really thin coat. So I'm going to mix some water, a little bit of water with my matte medium. And I'm going to brush on the entire center. I also coated my flowers already. So I'm just going to make sure I'm not missing any spots. And you want to work fairly quickly because this tends to dry fairly fast. And you want it to be wet when you do this next step. So I've got my whole center here coated with a nice thin layer of matte multi-medium. Just make sure I got every little spot. And then now I'm going to take some glimmer mist. And I'm going to start with patina first. Shake it up really good because it's a really light blue and I just want to get a little bit of blue in here. And that's too light, so I'm going to have to add, we're going to try Trunk Bay. Actually, Blue Skies is probably a little bit better. I'm going to start by spraying a little bit. So I'm just barely spraying it on here. And I think that's about as much as maybe a little bit more. That's about, I keep saying that's about good, then I want a little bit more. Alright, so that's about good for me there. And now I'm going to take my fan brush and rinse it really quick. Dry it off over here. And I'm going to take some Camel Glimmer Glam, and this is the glaze with the really pretty glitter inside. It's kind of a coppery color. I'm going to dip my brush in here real well. And I'm going to let the excess come off, and I'm just going to splatter paint the middle a little bit. And you'll see the way it reacts is really cool. So this is just going to add some glitter, a little bit of sparkle in there. And it also it has that really funky reaction where it makes the glimmer mist spread a little bit. So now that I've done that, I'm going to dry this up. And I'm actually going to go in and with a wet rag and just wipe off some of the glue that splattered onto my flowers, because I don't necessarily want the glue on my petals. So you just do that by wiping it off. It comes off really easy, especially with that matte medium already on there. Makes it waterproof. And looks like I've got it all off. So I'm going to go ahead and let that dry, and then I'll be back to show you the finished piece. No? Alright, so I'm all done, and well, I think I'm done. Who knows? I may add something to this later, but here's a look at the butterflies on there. I didn't want to do anything too crazy in the middle because I felt like it would just take away from the flowers, so I just did the little butterflies. And there's kind of a close-up look. Hopefully you can get a good look at it. And that's it. I did the stamping, I tinted it, and I added a little bit more of the Glimmer Glam. And I sealed the whole thing with a matte medium. Now I just have to paint the sides, and I'm going to paint them this beige color, and then the canvas is all finished, and then I can sign it right down there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned. I have another video posting soon to make up for the day that I missed. And I will have a video every day this month, so check back often. And once again, thank you so much for watching.